All right, we are doing this. Yeah, kid. Welcome everybody back to another episode of the Handsome Homebuyer podcast. My name is Charles, aka the Handsome Homebuyer, and we have a fire one today. Listen, we do a lot of podcasts. I think they're all good, but some of them are great, right? Not everything is created equal. This one, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be great. Many years ago, I was in Mako, and somebody walked in. He was doing appraisal of my building, and he said he knew a lot of wealthy people, and we started talking, and I said to him, hey, what's the secret to being wealthy? And he said two things. One, real estate. Two, owning businesses that other people run for you. And when we're talking about the king of selling those businesses, and in his own words, when we jumped on a few minutes ago, he said to me, everything's amazing. America is for sale. Let's talk to him about exactly what that is. He has an amazing history. He's a super young guy. He's freaking blowing up. Private equity is here. If it's not here today, it definitely will be. We're definitely on private equity's doorstep, and we're pounding. This guy is going to be like BlackRock, Blackstone. Just wait and see. You called it here. What's today's date? 11/8/2024. We're going to look back on this in 20 years when this guy is a filthy billionaire helping whoever president-elect at the time get elected, and you'd be like, Handsome called that shit back in 2024. Here's my man, Mike Steinberg from Headstone.
Thanks for having me.
What up, dude?
I really appreciate you having me. Thanks so much for all the kind words. Let's make this the best episode ever right now.
I'm fired up. It's going to be. So a little bit of background. I didn't want to talk about your whole kind of coming up because it's awesome. It's a true American story. Everybody starts, at the bottom and works their way up. And in your case, you started as a pizza delivery boy. Now you're basically selling every business under the sun. So give people kind of like a 60-second rundown of, your come up.
So I started with, nothing, medium household income, parents, middle income, however you say it. Worked from 16, started working at 16, was in the pizza business, worked behind the counter, learned everything about the business, always the same person, always had that drive, always want to do better. And I got a master's when I worked at the pizzeria, because then I started learning how to speak to people. What kind of slice do you want? How are you? How you doing? So that's so underrated. So if you're a father out there or a mother, parents, get your kids to work no matter the situation, because that will help them with their social skills. So I started working in the pizzeria. I met people. I met a business broker. She showed a liking to me. I went to his office. He told me I can sell pizzerias while I was delivering pizzerias. It intrigued me. I wanted to do it. I sold the pizzeria. I quit my job cold turkey. And then I started selling pizzerias. And then that was it. That's the 60 seconds. That was it. And now we can get into it.
I feel like people need to take that in for a second, right? Because the most valuable lesson that I take from that is just freaking do it, man. Just do it. Literally on Monday, you were delivering pies. On Tuesday, you're like, I'm not delivering pies. I'm selling pizzerias. And it wasn't like, I need a master's degree to do it. I need all this training. I need, wealthy parents as a backer. I need connections. No, you're just like, I'm going to knock on every pizzeria's door and be like, you want to sell your pizzeria? I have people that want to buy it.
Absolutely. And what I did was I knocked on every door. I put drop notes under every door. So drop notes are envelopes. So when I was delivering pizza, could you hear that beep in my, sorry.
Yep. It's okay.
I don't know how to turn that off. So when I was delivering pizza, I used to take drop notes. Drop notes are pieces of mail. And at nighttime, I used to slip them under every single business, mostly pizzerias. And I would get about a 5% return. People would call me back. They would read the drop note. I used to say, I have a buyer that's interested. They would call me. Even if I didn't have a buyer, I needed to meet that pizzeria owner, and I would get the listings. And then from there, it's a numbers game. And then I just went crazy. I went to Restaurant Depot. Restaurant Depot has so many pizzeria, restaurant buyers, food buyers. I used to hand out flyers at Restaurant Depot. They'd kick me out a million times. I used to put flyers in people's cars. You have to do what it takes.
Yeah, so it's funny because I did a presentation yesterday and I was speaking to real estate agents and they were like, hey, how do you get started? How do you get moving? That's exactly how you get moving, man. You go out every single night, all night, and you walk from pizzeria to pizzeria and you slide them under the door. And you know what? 95% of the people aren't going to call you back. 5% will. And of the 5%, maybe you get to transact with 10 to 35% of those people. but you keep going, you keep going. The cool thing about selling businesses is you can make a lot of money selling businesses. You know, you sell a $400,000 house. Listen, nothing wrong with selling real estate. Obviously, I love it. It's my passion. You sell a $400,000 house, 2% commission, $8,000 split it with your broker. Maybe you walk away with $5,000. You start selling businesses and packages of businesses to hedge funds and things like that, and private equity funds. The earning potential is off the chart.
It's wild. It's so wild. I mean, there's 6 million. I say this in all my videos. 6 million businesses for sale right now in the United States. 6 million. There's only 10,000 people doing this. There's 2 million real estate agents. I mean, real estate's great, but there's 2 million real estate agents. There's 10,000 business brokers. And just
talk to people about just this moment in time, because I feel like this moment in time for somebody like yourself or people looking to buy businesses is like the jackpot. Like, you got to take advantage of it.
It's the gold rush. It really is. It's the gold rush right now. There's 10,000 baby boomers retiring every single day. 25 to 30% are business owners, and their kids do not want their business. So that's 2,500 to 3,000 baby boomers that want to sell their businesses, and they don't know where to go. They have no idea what to do. So they call me. And you know what I do? I get that shit done because I have experience. I teach people how to do it. I have about 200 people in my company doing this full time.
And the interesting is I consider you to be a disruptor in the industry, because prior to meeting you, and I had sold a business about 10 or 15 years ago, my Mako franchise. And prior to doing that, my experience with business brokers was very, very, very different. What they would do is they put it up on their website. They have this special tracking thing when somebody clicks on it, and they try to collect a fee. That is not what you're doing. You're educating. You built a platform for other brokers nationwide. You are out on social media. Like, you are really, really disrupting the industry.
I appreciate that. That's the goal, right? There's not a lot of, there's not a lot of experienced competition, and I just took it and ran with it. I never let social media in this business is everything. I tell my guys that all the time. I never let a story on Instagram lapse. I post every single day like it's my religion. And I'm just consistent. That's how you have to be in anything. And that's what I did. And now I'm getting, just from Instagram, I'm getting like 10 to 15 seller leads, I would say every 2 to 3 days that want to sell their businesses. Just from Instagram. And then LinkedIn, the same thing. YouTube, every platform, you got to push.
And just so people know, right? Because I'm sure people are like, well, this guy's probably got a crazy team and he's probably got people doing all this shit for you. I feel like, are you putting all this stuff out yourself?
No, I work smarter. Like you said before, you have to have people working for you. You have to work smarter, not harder. So I have a powerhouse dream team. The 92 dream team I have. I have Kobe, Shaq, MJ, LeBron, every one of my team that we all work together and we see a bigger picture here.
So let's talk about the assembly of that dream team, and then you making the transition from, you obviously do sell businesses, but now you own the brokerage. You have 200 plus people underneath you. Making that transition is not an easy thing. Scaling is not an easy thing. It is not easy to find people that are competent, can do their job, and want to work. It is literally what I've experienced in my business is the hardest part of scaling. Mm-hmm. So, and again, you're very young. How old are you? 35, 33? 33. So talk to me about that process. When did you say, you know what, I'm not just going to sell businesses. I'm going to have my own business brokerage. I'm going to teach other people how to do it. And now you have to manage that animal because you have 200 people that are in your ear all the time, wanting to ask you questions, having problems, all of that.
Absolutely. So I put a buffer in place. So I have a manager that handles all the questions, but I make my people invest a little bit in the beginning. If you don't have, I'm not just taking anyone off the street. I'm taking people that want to learn, want to invest a couple of bucks to make a ton of money. My vision for owning a brokerage started during COVID. I saw a huge opportunity where everything was online and, you're not meeting people face to face as much. So I would like to, my goal was to educate everyone on how to sell businesses, especially hit that real estate. So a lot of my good brokers are real estate agents. They're residential real estate agents, commercial real estate agents. And I just teach them, they know how to transact already. I just teach them the lingo And once they know the lingo, they'll make 10 times the amount of money that they would make in residential or commercial with me, because it's a wide open market and my lead flow is crazy. I send everyone leads. So my vision was to open up the brokerage in 2020. I had great mentors, and not everyone can have mentors. You got to be mentorable. So I learned, I listened, I shut up, I sat in the corner. I listened from people that were smarter than me. They helped me build an infrastructure, because just, we both added value to each other. And that's what it's about. And I built the infrastructure. I have a great education platform. You sign into Headstone, you get dropped into your portal. You have my course, you have my podcast, you have all my educational content, and you can really get started just from your computer.
Talk to me about the process of putting all that together. How much work was that, and how long did it take for you to build all that back-end infrastructure? Because there's people that can sell and that are visionaries, but doing all that back-end ops stuff is a lot of work, and you have to have a personality type for it. And for people like me with like ADD, they're all over the place. It's very hard to sit down and build that kind of stuff. So I'm curious to know, like, did you have someone helping you? Did you do it yourself? How long did it take? Because I think a lot of people today, especially these young guys and girls, want instant gratification, and it just doesn't work that way. It takes time. Like, I would assume to build out something that what you built out there, back end stuff, it took you 12 to 24 months of hard ass work.
I would say 36 to 48 months, and we're still building.
There you go. And it's a never ending cycle.
Never ending. It's always pivoting, building, transitioning, different CRMs, different platforms, different developers. It's a lot, it's a lot, especially when our website's not a destination, it's a journey. A lot of people on our website are on our website for over 5 minutes looking through listings. So how do you keep them on your website? These are all things you got to think about. And there's so many new things coming, and you're always changing.
And the thing that I just want to point out, you seem to be very into the data. Like, you understand what's going on. You understand your conversions, all your KPIs. You can't run a business if you don't know all those types of things. So I always say, listen, what people think is going on in the real world and what is actually going on even within their business are two totally different things. If you're not actively monitoring your conversions, your cost per lead, your cost per deal, all of those things, you have no clue. And you can't operate a business like that. A professional business person has that data and uses the levers based off that data to run a business. And that's the only way to scale a big business. And it's not easy. And that's what I kind of want to transition into with you, because you have a bunch of different. I know that you're big on certain businesses, which I want you to talk about. But the big play now with you and a lot of the people that you service is packaging up certain types of businesses, scaling in them, and either holding them for cash flow or ultimately selling them off to private equity at a giant multiplier. So first, let's talk about the hot businesses. What are the businesses that you think are hot that you really love right now?
Everyone knows I love car washes. So I'm an owner of 10. I have a small piece of 8. I have a bigger piece of 2. But I'm an owner of 10 car washes on Long Island. And car washes are great businesses. Unfortunately, they're very hard to get deals done because I completely took over. Not trying to be cocky, but I completely took over that whole market. So when a car wash comes for sale, it comes to me first, usually. I would say 80% of the time. And either I'll buy it now or have a very close client that will buy it. And, throughout the country, if you want to buy a car wash, I'm not taking over the whole country, but just Long Island. That's what I'm doing. I'm packaging these things up. And then in 10 years, I'm going to sell it to a huge private equity company. So car washes are great. Car washes are amazing because they're membership. A lot of these baby boomers own them. They don't have membership in place. I've learned from a mentor of mine. He owns the Empire Car Wash Group. He believes in. He taught me about membership. Membership is the best thing in the car wash business because when it rains, everyone else is closed that doesn't have membership. But when it rains for us, we still get paid, right? Because you get that hit on that credit card. So innovating the space with membership, new equipment, amazing customer service. Everyone in Long Island is always going to wash a car. I don't care what anyone says. It's Long Island. Everyone wants their car washed. And it's not going away. So that's my number one business right now is the car wash space. Other businesses, laundromats are great. They're still not innovated as well. All these small businesses, there's so much room to grow and innovate. I have so many different ideas, and I can't do everything at once. I'm working on the car wash space. I'm getting into the laundromat space as well. I'm getting into the hotel motel space as well. I'm getting into the food distribution space as well, as a buyer. So those are good businesses. Healthcare companies are amazing. We sell a lot of home healthcare companies, manufacturing companies. We just closed on this $5.5 million manufacturing company this week. Great deal. Got the lead on LinkedIn. So someone on LinkedIn reached out to me that wanted to sell their manufacturer. Free lead, by the way. It's free. Everything's free. A $5.5 million deal. Took 3 months. We closed it. Huge commission. It was my guy's deal. They made a lot of money. There's a lot of hot industries. Anything that private equity likes.
So it seems like things. Well, you know what? Let's back it up for a minute because you put a lot of things there. So you personally own either in their entirety or a piece of, a dozen plus car washes. You're sitting here with me. You don't look really stressed. It's Friday morning. Who is running these places? How are you monitoring it? How do you ensure that amazing customer service that you're delivering? How does it happen?
So I have a very, very small slither of a bunch of locations where the CEO has that unlocked. He has 5 operators that run those. The ones that I have great operators that are there, amazing people. Like I only work with I only want to work with people that I love. So I got an amazing guy in one location that's, invested. Plus he's also, he's just a great person, great with customers. And we had this agreement before we even buy it. He's operating the space. So that's my model is I have partners that come in, they invest, they operate, they take a salary. I don't take a salary because I don't work there. I just take distributions and the headache's off. And I get to focus on what I have to do. And I've always learned you have to just work smarter, not harder. That's my model with everything. So that's how you grow. You can't just get as much as possible in everything. You got to let people do the work, take a little piece and be happy with it.
So let's talk about the process. Let's talk about car washes, for example. What do you look for in a car wash in general when you're looking to buy it or buy into it? What are you looking for in a partner or an operator? Are they currently working there and are they not? And you bring them in. And then ultimately, what's the benefit for them to bring you in? What are you offering? And how do you guys together take this car wash to the next level?
Perfect. So when I look at a car wash, obviously it's location, location, location. If the location is a grade A location or even a B plus location, I'm interested. I also make sure that the retail revenue is there. So, not wholesale. I'm not interested in wholesale. I'm interested in customers coming in, paying, coming out. And I want to make sure that retail revenue is strong. If the location is there, the retail revenue is there, I can add membership to it. Most of these places don't have membership already. So I like that. Then my biggest thing in this negotiation is seller financing, which you don't really see a lot in real estate. You do, but not like businesses. 80% of my deals are seller financing deals. That's huge. So seller financing is a win-win for the buyer and a win-win for the seller. It's a win-win for the buyer because you don't have to put everything down. The seller has skin in the game. It just makes a lot of sense to buy deals. For the seller, I come in, I tell the seller, listen, you could defer your capital gains over time. You'll get a premium price. You'll get interest. It's a win-win. So I get the seller financing. I find the good location. I find the retail revenue, and I negotiate. And the way I negotiate, if everything's true, it's great. But if what the seller tells me isn't true, then it gets into a big negotiation, which we can discuss. But as far as partners, so does that answer that one?
Yeah, well, let me just ask a couple of questions about that because it's interesting. What kind of seller? I know there's no rules with seller financing, but what kind of structures are you seeing with seller financing? How much down? What interest rate? what term, what amount of time? What are you seeing typically right now, or is it all over the map?
It's all over the map. With the car wash industry, I shoot for long-term seller financing, 10, 15, 20, 30 years.
Okay.
Interest rates are always below bank rates. So interest rates are always between 5 and 7%. In the pizzeria, restaurant, bagel store, smaller deals, seller financing usually is, 3 to 5 years, 2 to 5 years. But when you get into the bigger deals, the cash on cash has to make sense. So you got to stretch out the seller financing.
So great point. What kind of cash on cash are people looking for from the jump? And two, how are you, because people are very, very curious as to how you evaluate businesses, what businesses are actually worth, both from the standpoint of people who own businesses who want to sell them. And if they are going to sell them, I recommend they call you, or people that are looking to buy a business and get a fair or great deal.
So every business is evaluated differently. Most businesses, I would say 90% of businesses are evaluated on EBITDA, which is basically the profit. You add back depreciation, taxes, interest, amortization, and then there's a multiplier on that EBITDA. So in the car wash space, it's different for every region. In the Northeast, these full service car washes are trading between 5 and 6.5 times EBITDA. A lot of business buyers, the returns have to make sense. They have to be more than real estate. So I shoot to get people 15, 20% cash on cash returns. Now, I've done deals where I've gotten a 50, 75, 100% cash on cash returns. And it's a win-win for both the seller and the buyer because the seller wants to defer his capital gains. But the goal is to get a minimum of 15 to 20% on your money.
Yeah, and that's obviously it's as a professional investor, it's all about risk, right? Risk and return. You have X amount of money, you can put it somewhere. What's the place that's going to give you the best return for the least risk ultimately? So,
heavy seller financing, boring businesses.
So, talk to me about I'm Joe, the car wash owner. I've run this car wash for 20 years. You approach me and you want to buy it. Are you trying to buy it from me and then bring somebody else in to manage? Or are you trying to buy into the car wash, have me work there, and then just do a value add with the things that you bring to the table to elevate the business? And if so, what are those things that you bring in to elevate the business?
So I definitely don't want to, especially on Long Island, the car wash owners, there's a lot of cash involved. I'm just going to say that. So I definitely don't want to keep them on because I don't know that if they're not there. And I want every dollar for me. So, and my partner. So I basically give them what they want with terms. And then I bring in someone. I keep everyone on their team. I keep their whole staff. I don't want to change anything. I don't even want the customers to know that it's sold. But then I bring in a partner that comes up with a little bit of money so he can't run away. And he comes in and we keep everything the same for 30 days. And then after 30 days, we start implementing small changes without everyone noticing. And then once we have it on autopilot, then we do a huge announcement that it's under new management if we have to. If we're going to put a new tunnel in, it all depends. If it's working the way it is, like we just bought a car wash in Woodbury, the Woodbury car wash, and the place is turnkey. I mean, we didn't have to do anything. So no one even knows that I really sold besides looking at my Instagram.
So talent recruitment is a very, very big thing. And maybe I'm just particularly sensitive to it right now because I've had so many issues with it and I've had revolving door of people coming in, coming out to try to really scale to where we're going to. Where are you finding these operators? How are you training them? Because obviously you have a system at this point. So if you're buying at the volume that you're buying and you're going to continue to do that, if not grow, what is your system for finding these operators and then training these people?
So finding the operators is tough. It's not anyone on the street. You got to speak to, it's a numbers game. You got to speak to 20, 30, 50 people and you got to pick, 5 of them and you got to out of the 5, one of them will be good. It's like anything else. Fortunately for me, I know a lot of people, and a lot of people that I know that I'm close with recommend people, and then I already have a head start on that. My SOPs, my standard operating procedures, due to the fact that I own the car washes, now I'm at the point where I could put people in my existing locations, train them, have them learn how to move a line, have them learn how to sell membership, have them learn how to speak to customers, cashier, even repairs in the tunnel. All the guys that work know how to, most of the people in the tunnel know how to fix the equipment. So, now everything, due to the fact that I learned from the best, I learned from the Empire Car Wash Group, Ken Weiner, I'm able to, just to learn and adapt and do it my way now.
Just so people don't think this is all fun and games all the time, how much shit goes bad on a daily basis all the time, everywhere?
It's everything goes bad. I mean, it's nuts. There's always a problem. There's always an issue, but the way you have to just always have a positive in business in general, just always try to maintain that positive mindset. And the goal in life to me, and this is, I don't want to get too sentimental, but the goal in life is always to be happy. That's what life's about. Just what is stress going to do for you? Just be happy. There's always a solution. So that's my mindset with everything. And that helps.
It's a good mindset. So let's talk about the future, because the great thing about what you built is that you built the hardest part of everything. So people always say to me, they're like, yo, what's the hardest part? People always assume that the hardest part of real estate investing is getting the money. And I'm like, yo, the money's the easiest part. Contractors are kind of the hardest part, but outside of that, it's deal flow. So you've essentially built a deal flow machine where if you wanted to, let's say, raise a massive fund or just use personal capital, you could cherry pick essentially what you consider to be the best deals and then spool these things up and then sell off the stuff that you're just not interested in for whatever reason. It's not the industry you're in, doesn't meet your margins, whatever. So talk to me about the future of what you kind of been hinting at and where you're going with this in the next, couple of years.
Oh man. So you're right. Deal flow is everything. And now we're going to cherry pick everything, and we're going to focus on 3 to 4 different sectors. We're going to cherry pick different deals. And like you said, capital is really not the issue. It's putting the right people in place, the SOPs, and just managing and really doing really optimizing as much as you could. So the future for me, and I have so many things going on. I'm also starting a bank as well, which I haven't really told anyone yet. So
you've heard it here, folks. First on the Handsome Homebuyer podcast, the bank is coming.
The bank is coming because 90% of these deals you can't get traditional financing, right? And some of the deals you can't do seller financing, and some of the deals the buyers don't have the down payment to come up with. So that's really my future. I'm going to buy a shit ton of businesses. I'm going to own over 100 companies in the next 5 years. But my main focus, with the help of other people, is growing Headstone into the next Berkshire Hathaway.
So, which is amazing. And I have no doubt that you're going to do it. Just so, because it seems like a very overwhelming thing. Just kind of lay out high level, like how you doing it. It's just like, it's a day by day, brick by brick thing. And secondarily, actually, this is really, I wanted to go with this. And I struggle with this sometimes. Alex Hormozy calls it the woman in the red dress. I heard that the other day. I thought that was kind of cute. People like you and I, we see opportunity in things and we get like distracted because we know that we can build it into something. But a lot of the most successful people, although sometimes I mess with myself because Elon seems to be doing it all over the place, most people really focus on one thing. And when you do a million things, just because there's only a certain amount of hours in the day, sometimes it's hard. Some people are very successful with it. Other people would just be better off focusing on one thing What is your opinion on that? Do you wrestle with yourself sometimes? You're like, I'm gonna open up a bank, and then I'm building the brokerage, and then we're buying car washes, and then we're opening a PE fund, and like, let's start raising fucking $100 million. And there's 24 hours in a day. You don't want your wife to hate you.
I'm married with 2 kids, by the way.
So. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you want to see the kids, you want to be at the baseball games, the dance recitals.
Yeah, I mean,
How do you manage all of that?
One word: people. That's it. You got to empower people. Don't be afraid to pay people. Don't be afraid to overpay people. A lot of people are so like, oh, what's going to be let's just an example. What's going to be the commission on the deal? How much am I going to make? What's my cut? What am I getting? Listen, I'm going to give you more than what anyone else would give you. I'm going to incentivize you more. I'm going to bring the deal to you. I'm going to change your life. You're gonna change your life too, not just me. We're gonna change our lives together. It's always we, not me, with me. So it's about the team. Everything is about the team. And I empower everyone around me. And a lot of people think I'm crazy that I give away the farm, but that's how you really grow. You can't do everything yourself. I have so many people on my team that they'll go through walls through me and I'll go through walls for them too. It's just, that's the way I think.
So if you learn nothing else from this podcast, that is it. It is not about, and I know, and I'm guilty of this in the past, and I'm sure most people are, where you're like, hey, I need to put a body in a position. What's the most cost-effective way to do that? But that ends up costing you a lot of money. You can put somebody in a position, pay them 50% more, get 300% more output out of them than somebody that's making half the price, half the money, or 75% of the money. And then it frees you up to do the things that you want to do. And that's ultimately what I think the biggest lesson of what we just discussed is.
Time is everything. So how do you live and, make as much money as possible? I'd rather get 10% of 500 businesses than 100% of 2.
Without a doubt. Makes perfect sense. So listen, bro, love you. Super impressed with everything you're doing. Glad we got to connect on here. It's been too long. We should do this more often in whatever capacity we can, because I'm inspired by you and I love the stuff that you're doing. I love hearing about it. Anybody out there looking to buy a business, sell a business, or start brokering business deals, how do they reach out to you? How do they get in touch with you?
Business Broker King on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and headstone.com. Join the team. Change your life.
Love it, man. Obviously, I'm the Handsome Home Buyer. You have a house, land, commercial property, anything in the real estate space. I'm quick. I'm easy. Lord knows I try to be a good time. And I want to buy it. 516-777 sold. That's a wrap.